Okay, what I'm going to show you in this bit quickly is how to use the graduated fills and texture fills. Okay, so if you've got a shape, you have up to now just like done solid fills using picking a colour down here with a little paint bucket and filling the colour in, which is fair enough and that's useful. But we can also do, you'll see there's another couple of icons here. There's a gradient fill and a pattern fill. So let's have a look at the gradient one first. Right, there are loads of different gradients and you can see what happens is it fills. Now, you don't have to use a preset of colours, okay? You can use the colour wheel by clicking on the little boxes. So at the minute this is going from like a weird lime green to white. I can click on the little white box there, you can see where the mouse is, and I can make it go to blue and it does a graduation. Okay, I can slide these around so I can change the effect of that, so you can see I've got lots of solid and then it graduates. Okay, and I can pull that in so you can make like little funny effects. You can also add extra colours. See where there's a little plus? Click the plus, it gives me another colour, so I can change that and I can make like rainbowy type effects if I want to. Okay, slide them around to alter how the effect works. Okay, you'll also notice on the top there's these little black squares. If you click those, they allow us to change the transparency. Okay, and you can add extras of these, so you can make things very transparent and then solid again. So you can get lots of different effects, and you'll see the checkerboard in the fill there that's helping you with the transparencies. If you decide you don't want one of these things again, just drag it vertically off. So let's change that back to fully opaque. So let's say I don't want this colour anymore, just drag it straight off and then you can slide around the ones you've got left. Okay, right, the other thing you can do is when you select an object that's got a gradient fill, you'll get one of these little control bars. There's two parts to it. There's an anchor which says where the fill should start, and that is a circle, and you can move that around and that's the effect of it. And then you've got this square thing at the other end, and what that controls is what part of the shape is filled with that fill. So if you want it just on a bit of it, you can do that, and you can control the angle of it as well. Right, it's quite cool. If you want to make sure that the fill is over all of it, just make sure the handles, both of them, are outside the shape. So you might want to get some like really subtle part of the fill. So you've got a fill pattern you like, but you only want it to be subtle like that, rather than harsh. So you want it to be subtle, a real. Let's say there's a fire and this is the night sky or something. Well, it isn't, but it could be, and that could be the effect you want. Okay, so you could say, oh look, there's a red light, there's something burning on the left hand side of the rectangle. Ooh. Okay, so that allows you to move it around. You'll see that the handles, and you can position that wherever you want. Try and move the anchor one first, because it can be a pain if you do something like that and then you move that and then you've lost the positioning angle. So better to move that anchor point, the circle, first, and then get this one correct. Okay, you'll also know at the bottom you'll see this says texture and note next to it. Note is the transparency, so it's completely transparent, this texture, so we can apply a texture at the same time. So if you want like some weird checkerboard, you can do that, and that's gone to 50%, but I can alter that. I can make it purely untransparent, so you get that sort of effect. So it's combining your fill and your texture together. Okay, so there are some very odd ones that are really awful, and I don't know why anyone would want them. Okay, but you know, that's fair enough. Okay, so you can play about with those. Oh, stupid thing. Alter the effect of it, so if you make it really quite low, you can get just like subtle texture effects with it. The other thing you can do, you don't just have to have linear ones, there are different ones. So you get a nice radial one, you get like like a wavy one, which can actually be used for some really nice effects. Coney one, but you play with the ones to get the effect you want. The linear one's probably one of the most useful ones. Okay, so that's the gradient fill, but there is also a texture system, and if you click on the one little icon next to it, you move your mouse over, it says pattern fill. There are some built-in textures. And you'll get two handles. So you've got an anchor point that says where should the texture be repeated from, and you can move that around. But you also get the handles that allow you to stretch and skew the pattern, okay, in the X and the Y direction. So that one's messing about with the Y properties, and this one's messing about with the X properties, and you can play with that. There are some disgusting textures, they're pretty rank, some of them. See that one there, not bad, but static's quite a useful one. Okay, I don't know whether that one's available on this as well. Maybe. I've nearly got to the end of the vid, so you don't have to keep listening to me if you don't want to. No, I didn't have that. But static's quite good. And the other thing you can do is you can make these transparent, so you might want to apply static over the top of something else. So you can stretch these, and then if you was making like a TV set, static's quite good for that. Okay. One other thing, I'll do it in another video. I'll show you something else in another video. Okay, so that's messing about with fill.